This is the Experienced Optimist, and I was watching Big John, from the host of MGTOW's Freedom, and in some of his videos, he always says that he wants all men to hear the information on his channel, irregardless of race or class or culture, because he wants men to understand female nature and how the gynocracy ultimately subjugates men. And I was watching one of his videos recently from the Prepared Mind channel, in which he spoke about how the government always uses divide and conquer tactics like racism, classism, ideological differences to separate people so that they're more easily manipulated and controlled. And one of the main reasons I believe that MGTOW's Freedom was attacked and while they tried to shut down Big John's channel is because men are waking up to these ideas. See, the thing is, I believe racism, classism, and all this stuff has always been the right hand of gynocracy since the beginning of time. In order for gynocracy to survive and flourish, it needs men to fight other men, destroy other men, bring down other men, so that men as a whole don't realize how they are being subjugated. They don't realize that they are seen as the disposable sex. They don't realize that they are on a plantation that uses them for the resources that they provide, uses them to build society, and then discards them when they are no longer needed. Now, speaking about racism in particular, I remember when I was younger, I used to believe that racism is normal, and you have the bell curve, and with different intelligence, and all this nonsense. And then I joined the military. And I realized, all these distinctions amongst men were nonsense. Now, I'm sure some people will disagree with me, but I saw an environment in which men could come together where they hated one another, different classes and races. And you can develop respect and camaraderie amongst these men. You could focus on a goal and achieve that goal. Then as I got older, I realized that respect and camaraderie is the enemy of gynocracy, and it is the enemy of controlling governments. Because the more respect men have for one another, the more camaraderie men have, the more masculine they are, the more they will question their life, the more they will question the government and question the influences over them. And in a gynocracy and in a gynocracy, this is the enemy. In a gynocracy, you need men that want to kill other men who think that they're better in some way, shape, or form. These differences, classism, racism, and all that stuff, at this point in society, it's like men on the deck of the Titanic arguing about who built the engine. Yes, the engine is a technological marvel. Yes, this group of men may have put it together mechanically. Yes, this group of men may have designed it. But the reality is, if we stay on this fucking ship arguing with each other, we are all going to die. And that's why I like MGTOW. Now, there are some people in MGTOW who hate other groups of people and all that stuff. And I understand that. I used to be that way too. Because that indoctrination in society, that's what happens. They want you to hate other men so that you will stay on the plantation and that you will stay trying to get validation from people in society and from women. But MGTOW men in that same scenario, for the most part, they say that you guys can stay here arguing about who did what. I'll get on a lifeboat and I'll go my own way to safety. See, I think the men in society now, they're so pussy whipped and will do anything for validation that they will subjugate, hurt, and kill other men for pussy that they don't even get to fuck. Let's be honest, racism, classism is ultimately what it is. It's ultimately a tool to get rid of the competition, which leads to the pussy plantation in a society that only wants to use men as a resource, and a woman that never respects men no matter what they do. The way the society is set up, it just reminds me of, I don't know if you've seen those horror movies or television programs in which you'll have a group of guys, a group of people, and one guy will lust for power. He'll kill other people as a blood sacrifice or something stupid like that. Then he'll try to resurrect some demon, and it's generally some beautiful girl or whatever, and he'll say that he's devoted to the girl when he resurrects her, the demon. And then she'll be beautiful, and he's like, oh, I killed all these people for you, I love you so much, and you're the almighty or whatever. And then she'll transform into some ugly demon thing and then kill the guy. That's basically the society that we live in. It's like a guy from, Lord of the Rings, where he there was that guy who killed his friend to get the ring, and he would always call it precious, my precious. That's like how men operate in the gynocracy. Pussy is the precious, and societal validation basically is that ring. And the man will do anything for that power, that validation. And then at the end of the movie, Lord of the Rings, we all know that Spiegel guy, whatever his name was, had the ring. He jumps in some volcanic mountain and kills himself going after this ring. And that's what I've noticed that men do. Men kill other men that would most likely be allies in getting off the plantation, just so they can have a whiff of pussy and validation. Up to this point, we have killed other men, formed tribes, we've enslaved men, and this society that we have now is the end result. A gynocracy. And the point I want to make here is that as men, if we continue to fall for the same tricks of divide and conquer, where are we going to end up? like this channel that I made, I want all men to know this information, regardless of race, culture, any of that nonsense. Because I've traveled around the world and I've met guys from all over the world and they say the exact same thing. They say that they feel like they're being used. There's all sorts of tricks that women use to get them. There's all sorts of societal divisions that they have to face, whether they're white, black, or whatever. And still, I find that there's so many men that fall victim to this and become agents of the gynocracy, trying to keep other men down, like I said before, for validation and sex with supposed women that they never even get to know. And I'll give you an example. I remember one time when I was in the military, I was one of these guys that I was like, I'm going to marry Asian women because Asian women are docile and they'll do whatever you want. And I had a buddy who was Korean and Italian. And he told me, I was like, I was going to go to Korea and I was going to get one of these Korean girls. And he told me, he said, hey man, Korean women are materialistic and they can be materialistic. And I mean, what you're thinking with your dick. You're not thinking logically. You're thinking, you're thinking about waltz and unicorns. They'll get you for your money. They'll treat you bad. All that stereotypes that you think is good. I mean, you're crazy to believe it. And had I been, a racist dude and said, you know what, this half-breed doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, I would have went over there and I would have been like so many other guys. I would have hooked up with some, cute Korean girl and got taken for everything that I owned because I didn't know. And that's what we have in society right now. We have guys with good knowledge that want to help other men, but because of class distinctions, race distinctions, ideological distinctions, they don't want to help other men, or the men don't want to accept their advice. And it plays right into the hand of male disposability and gynocracy, and these same men end up on a plantation constantly vying for a woman's validation and society's validation. Always wondering why they're not happy, always wondering why they can't get ahead, and always wondering why they're treated as a disposable item that can be replaced in the corporate world or in society as a whole. So this is just a video. I wanted to, just talk about that. The divide and conquer, it's real. And it's part of the gynocracy. And as men, we can choose to continue this experiment of not fostering relations amongst each other of respect and camaraderie, the ultimate enemies of the gynocracy. Or we can just enjoy the decline of modern civilization. I do hope that we choose a better path, because as men with camaraderie and respect amongst oneself, we can create a better culture and ultimately a better world in the long run. But anyway, let me get off my soapbox. If you have a question about MGTOW or you want me to cover a certain topic, I'll leave my email in the description box. Be sure to like, subscribe, hitting the notification button. I recently created a Patreon and a PayPal donation link. If you feel that you want to donate, you can go ahead. But hit the notification button, guys, and I'll talk to you later. This is the Experience Optimist.